Greetings, sober army. How are you? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert and the author of Alcohol Lied to Me. Welcome in to the Happy Sober Podcast. If you have stumbled across this episode and you are worried about your drinking, your next port of call should be stopdrinkingexpert.com, where there is lots of free advice and articles and tips, and also a daily webinar that explains how my process works and why it is so bizarrely different to everything else available, like AA and rehab. So go and check it out, stopdrinkingexpert.com. Today, we're going to delve more into the reasons why you haven't stopped drinking so far. What's been stopping you? Because I've been asking my mailing list members a very simple question over the last couple of weeks. I've been asking them, why? Why do you drink? What do you get out of it? You must get something out of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. So I've had some very interesting replies. And this one from Scott is certainly in there. So let's dig into it. Why do you drink? What does it give you? It allows me reprieve from feelings. I get some small joy until I wake up the next day. What stopped you getting sober in the past? I did not admit that I had an issue. And 3, what stopped you getting started with the program? I'm scared and I cannot afford it. All right, so let's dig down into that because some interesting points there. It takes a long time to admit that you have a problem. I don't think anyone really wakes up to that without taking years of living in denial, myself included. I would say to anyone who questioned my drinking, I'd say either I can stop anytime I like, just don't want to. So, keep your nose out of my business. I'd say, look, what I do with my body is my business, got nothing to do with you. I'm only hurting myself. I'm not hurting anyone else. That was the second thing I would say, which of course is bullshit, because your drinking doesn't just hurt you. It hurts all those people who love you, especially your children, if you have children. What else would I say? I would say that I'm totally in control. I can take it or leave it. In fact, last month, I didn't drink at all. I went a whole month without drinking last month. As though that's some sort of evidence that I'm completely in control. Well, if you think about it, if you change the substance, if someone came up to you and said, hey, I did a whole month without eating apples last month. What do you think about that? Would you think that person was completely in control of their apple consumption, or do you think apples are a big problem for them? I think the latter, right? Anything that becomes so prevalent in your life that you have to demonstrate to yourself that you can stay away from it is a red flag. So let's talk about, I think, the main point here that has prevented Scott taking action and getting started on the program. Because the program works, and you don't need to take my word for that. You can go to Trustpilot, type in Stop Drinking Expert, and you'll see it is rated 5 stars. Excellent. Thousands and thousands of people have quit drinking using this approach. So it works. So why wouldn't you do it? All right. And that old I can't afford it line never holds water because the average member of my program saves around $7,000 a year. So actually the course doesn't cost money, it saves you money. So it never really washes when someone says, oh, I'd like to start, but I can't afford it. But you can afford vast quantities of alcohol. I think the truth is somewhere, hidden in the message, isn't it? But let's talk about fear. I'm scared, because that's a really brave thing for Scott to admit. But it's a really common problem. And in fact, it's completely natural to be afraid of stopping drinking. Why is it natural? Well, because despite how negative it is and what a negative element in your life, alcohol has been the solution to a problem for you. I mean, it's completely ineffective and ridiculous, but it has been a solution to a problem. And so to think about quitting drinking, you have to think about losing a solution to something that's been causing you pain. So it's completely natural to be afraid of the process. So it doesn't matter why you're drinking, and the reasons are varied and wide. Boredom, depression, anxiety, negative abusive relationship, trauma from childhood. The list goes on and on. We all have our reasons why we drink. It doesn't matter about the reason. The fact is, at some point in this journey of life that you've been on, you stumbled across a solution to your problem, and that solution was alcohol. And for a short period of time, it fixed your problem with no apparent side effects. Maybe occasionally you'd overdo it and you'd have a hangover, but there didn't seem to be any side effects to this solution to your problem. And so you carried on with it. And this is why alcohol is so dangerous. It's like water torture. Nobody comes to me for help without decades of drinking experience behind them. Nobody comes after 2 years and goes, "Oh, I've got a problem, Craig, can you help me?" It doesn't work like that. It's like quicksand. Alcohol is so dangerous, and it kills 3 million people every year because it's so patient with its victims. It's not like heroin. Heroin wants you dead within a month. Take as much as you can. I want you dead as quickly as possible. Alcohol, it's a patient killer. It's ready to sit and wait for decades before it kills you. And so the average age of my member at the Stop Drinking Expert website is about 42, 43, something like that. Rarely do I get people under 38, under that sort of age group, because there's a process. First, you need to have a problem and then identify alcohol as the solution to the problem. Then you need to pootle along like that for a couple of months, couple of years with no side effects, no problems. Then you need to spiral downwards to the point where the solution to the problem is now creating bigger problems than the problem you started with. And so you're still using the solution to fix the problem that you originally had, but you're finding that you're getting more and more, bigger and bigger, more and more dramatic problems appearing in your life because of the medicine that you have applied to the problem. Then you say to yourself, well, I'll quit drinking. Now you've got to spend a couple of years going through all the stupid routines, all the silly rules. I'll only drink on a weekend. I'll only drink beer, not spirits. I'll only drink on special occasions. I'll only drink, and you've done it, haven't you? You try and create rules around your drinking. I'll drink a pint of water for every alcoholic drink I have. And they all fail. Now, the problem is, you got yourself into this problem and you want to get yourself out of this problem. You don't want to pay someone like me to do it because you think you should be able to do it on your own. You're an intelligent human being, right? The problem is, continuing the quicksand analogy, you can't get yourself out of quicksand on your own. You need someone to help you. And that is true of alcohol as well. But unfortunately, people will spend years in that silly rules, trying to use willpower process of quitting drinking, blissfully unaware that they have a 95% chance of failure. Using willpower against an alcohol problem has a 95% chance of failure. So you will repeatedly fail to quit drinking. When you've done all of that, and it's taken decades, you'll come to my website and say, "Craig, I think I need some help." So that's the process. And because of that huge journey that you've been on, you meet someone like me who says to you, "I'm going to stop you drinking." You spend a bit of time with me and you're going to go off alcohol. You won't like the idea of it. You won't like the taste of it. You won't like the thought of it. You'll find it repulsive if you spend enough time with me. And you might think, well, Craig, that sounds fantastic. But it doesn't sound fantastic, does it? It sounds terrifying. It's scary. A lot of people leave my website very, very quickly when they realize that what I say is true. And, people back up what I say, because I'm the scary man that ruins alcohol for you. That's why people don't invite me to their parties. You don't want me there. I ruin it for everyone. But that's my job. My job is to ruin alcohol for you. So you look at it like the same way you look at heroin. You look at a glass of gin and tonic with the same contempt and disgust that you look at someone shooting heroin into a vein, because you see it as the same thing. You see it as poison. And yeah, that's the goal. But my God, it's terrifying, isn't it? It's terrifying if alcohol is your sticking plaster. It helps you with your depression. It helps you with your anxiety. It helps you with your loneliness. It helps, doesn't it? But it doesn't help. That's the point. You're now, by the time you come to me, by the time you find my podcast or you find my website, you've passed the event horizon. You've gone past the point of no return. You can't go back to being a normal social drinker. You can't rewind the clock and have one drink and then just leave it. It's too late. You've gone through a valve in your life. And at that point, you just need to take some responsibility and some acceptance of the situation, that there is no longer a choice for you. I think that's what paralyzes people so much, that they think they have a choice. You don't. Well, you do, but all right, you've got two choices. You carry on in the downward spiral that you are now definitely in, and you will die 10, 15 years earlier than you were supposed to. You will spend the latter years of your life miserable, in ill health, in pain, and with no energy, no motivation, no point to life. That's choice one. Choice two is you let me help you quit drinking, and you have a full, active, abundant life that's full of joy, happiness, and success. So yeah, there is a choice, but not really. You see what I mean? It's like nobody would choose option one. So don't get trapped into that paralysis that can go on for years of thinking that you have a choice and you're waiting to make a decision on the choice. There's no choice. You either take option two or you die. It's as black and white as I can make it. So Scott, I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. But many years ago, I made a decision that I was going to start looking at fear differently. Because I knew that the only way you grow, the only way you develop as a human being is to feel uncomfortable. The biggest killer of your progress in this life is your comfort zone. And everyone prefers to stay in your comfort zone where it's safe and it's warm and you don't have to feel scared and afraid. But it's barren in there. Nothing grows. And you'll just stay in that miserable limbo period of being a problem drinker. I said to myself years ago, if I'm afraid of it, I have to do it. And that's been my mantra since my mid-30s. And sometimes it's got me into trouble. Sometimes it's got me into situations where I was hopelessly out of my depth. But most of the time, it forced me to grow. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't easy. Sometimes it was very, very painful. But it forced me to grow. And I took my life from being completely broken to being one of abundance, joy, and happiness as it is now. So Scott, if you're afraid, you have to do it. That's the rule. You have to start seeing fear as a window of opportunity. That's how you know it's worth it. Nothing comfortable is worth having. If it's uncomfortable, if it's scary, if you're afraid of doing it, then you have to say, okay, well, now I have to do it. That's my mantra. And it's terrifying. And it's a little bit annoying because sometimes you come up to a situation and you're absolutely terrified of it. And then that little thing in your head goes, and now you have to do it. And you're like, oh, no, I want to walk away. I want to go back into my comfort zone. But nothing grows there, right? It's barren. So as the book says, feel the fear and do it anyway, Scott, because, you'll regret not taking action sooner at some point in your life. That's in the mail. It's coming. At some point, you're going to regret not taking action sooner. So I'll leave you today with the best time to have quit drinking. And that was 1 second ago. In fact, it was 10 years ago, actually. The next best time to quit drinking is now. Oh, and now, and now, and now. You see what I mean? Look, it would have been better if you'd never found this horrible, nasty, addictive substance they call alcohol, and they sell everywhere in Walmart and all that. That would have been perfect. The next best thing would have been to quit drinking 10 years ago when you first thought, have I got a bit of a problem? But all this is in the past and we can't do anything about it. But what we can do, and what we can always do, is take action in this moment. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Hope that helps. And thank you for replying to my email, Scott. And hopefully I see you in the members area. Thanks a lot. See you soon.